Hi, my name is Nick. This is Computers 2K Now. We're having some technical difficulties this morning. Thank you for joining us. The whole cast is here, including Amnon Nissan, Gal, and Spence. Um, I don't remember the intro of the show, so we'll throw it over to Amnon, but we're having some technical issues. But we're here. It's Sunday. Hi, Amnon. How are you?
Hey, good morning. I don't know what's going on, but we'll figure it out afterwards.
Yes, sir.
So you're to the Computer Studio now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Amnon, your host, and our number is 919-518-9773. Computer Studio Voice on Skype. And this morning's show is made possible by vMix software, Telestream's Wirecast software, and is sponsored by Tom Sinclair of Live Streaming Gear. All right. So yeah, this is the wonders of doing live shows.
Yep, roll with it.
Yep. Hopefully we'll figure it out.
This is just a undocumented feature.
Yeah. I'm hoping that it has nothing to do with that Windows 2004 update because I did restart the computer this morning before the show and everything went okay. But then when I rebooted the first time, when it came back, it wanted to do. It looked like when you install Windows and it's got that blue
For me,
screen with all the what?
for me, it shows that the feature update to version 2004, well, it's 2004, and it hasn't been pushed yet.
Yeah, you can get it through the the Windows 10 feature. You can download it. It's called the Windows 10 update assistant. You download it from Microsoft's website and it'll run the update. I'd highly recommend if you have a couple of hours over the weekend to do it. So in the middle of the week when you're trying to do something on your computer, it doesn't just
Yeah,
Oh,
stop.
but it hasn't been pushed yet.
No, it
So
has not.
yeah,
Um, we've rolled out 2004 to about 100 computers to test
mhm.
with some different customers at work. So far, everything seems good. Um, haven't noticed anything crazy yet. No printers seem to still be working. Network shares didn't seem to break, so uh, that's good. This is a huge update from Microsoft. It's like a 700 megabyte update. I think it's the largest, minus the last really big one they did. This may be the largest feature update that they've ever done for Windows 10.
Was there anything between 1909 and 2004?
Yeah, there was a couple little updates. It's bigger than 1909. I think 1903 was over a gigabyte, but this is a really big update. 2004 um, for Windows 10, which is
yeah,
good.
it's more
Which
than
is
a
good.
service pack. It's
Yes.
like
Yeah.
an OS upgrade. So what happened tonight?
I was reading some about it and they were saying that not to worry much about it because Microsoft actually tested this big time before they were releasing, and they're not going to release it all at once like they always do. They're going to do it. I mean, they're not going to just put it out there. They're going to update so many computers every, I don't know, whatever period of time. So they're going to roll it slowly.
The
Uh,
biggest thing for me is actually in the background, and I think I talked about it last week. Is the WSL2? It's the Windows system for Linux uh, and subsystem for Linux, and that is going to be a very interesting turn. It's like Microsoft embracing Linux almost completely. They wrote their
yeah.
own kernel.
Hmm.
It is an exciting update for anyone who wants to work with a lot more tools that are easily available in Linux and run them seamlessly on a Windows machine. So it's going to be an interesting
I know
hybrid.
Param. I know Param still listens to the show. I heard from him a month or so ago, and I would love to hear his comments on this. You guys, Dahl and Nick, you don't know Param. I don't know if you remember Param. If you ever listened to the show when he was on, but he is a former Apple guy. Works for NIH now.
Mm.
but a brilliant guy who knows Linux, Unix, back to the many many years, and used to work at the Apple Store. Was a specialist.
He
Good
was the
guy.
first genius that we knew.
That's right. Yep. Yep. It was nice to hear from them. They're all doing good. Benjamin, I think he graduated from high school. He starts college. That's just amazing. Last time I saw him, I remember we went to a ball game together. Uh, he and Benjamin met Pam and I. We had tickets for the Durham Bulls. Yeah, so it's been a while. Pam, if you're listening, hello, and call in if you get a chance.
All right. So what else happened this week? And I'm not talking about protesting and stuff like that.
Was something. What was it?
A lot of people going back to the office across
Yeah.
the country. So busy IT week.
Yep.
Interesting.
Spotty internet issues with
Yeah. Suppliers are finally starting to get stock back. All of our vendors for hardware, desktops and laptops are all restocked. So hopefully the supply chain on the PC side, computer side, normalizes here. Um,
So Nick,
I don't think.
you said a lot of people going back to the office,
Yes, sir.
but then again, at least two very large companies notified that the offices are closed for good, right?
They did. It's Google and
Twitter.
No, I didn't heard about Google, but
Oh.
Facebook and Twitter.
Facebook and Twitter. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I would make the argument that for businesses like Facebook and Twitter, it makes sense.
You know
I
what?
mean, I'm not saying it doesn't make sense. I have no idea yet, right? But they do have huge campuses.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I'll tell you
So-
what, though, that's going to take away a lot of the advantage of working for these companies. See, the big reason to work for these Silicon Valley tech, not the big reason, one of the big reasons to work for these Silicon Valley tech companies is their campus. They've
Right.
got a cafeteria where, in the case of Google, I know they pay for your lunch. The cafeteria is free at Google, and they've got gourmet chefs in there that do lunch. Yeah, the campuses are they try to make it a place where you can enjoy your time at work. Now, if that
Yep.
works or doesn't, I can't comment on, but that's
I'll
a big
tell
advantage
you-
of working at these places.
I'll tell you, there will be everlasting consequences to doing this that I don't think people quite anticipate yet. Psychologically, people need to be around other people, and it
Yeah.
means not just video. I mean, you need to be around other people. If you're going to be sequestered at home, just because that's the way it works. I did it for years and years and years after being an office person for all those years. And after a while, you just start to crave contact with other people.
Right.
So
But think about this, right? Now they'll have the budget to, I don't know, gather everyone and send them to Disneyland twice a year.
yeah,
Yeah,
let's hope so. Yeah, it definitely.
That's not going to do the trick.
Nortel was
Maybe.
a pioneer with this, where they offered the work at home program. They actually came. You told them the size of your office. They bought you high-end furniture. They
Mm.
paid for your, back then it was, gosh, it was an ISDN connection. And you got your own work phone at home. This is prior to VPN days, prior to all that. They paid for your internet connection, bought you a printer, bought your lighting, I mean, everything. They set you up. It saved them, they claim, $900 a month per person to not have them in the office. And so it's going to save a bunch of money. Now, maybe all the reasons for doing this are not, gee, we want to help our employees. It could be just they realize, hey, we can do this and we can save a bunch of money. So, especially now with the economy hurting, the more you can save, the better. But what is it going to do to the commercial real estate business?
Yeah, that's the unknown here. That's got a huge effect, the commercial real estate market. And I think from going back to what you were saying, Spence, you do kind of go, you do kind of, at least I myself, I almost went a little stir crazy, you know, besides my usual insanity. When I was working from home for 6 or 8 weeks, because I mean, I live alone. I don't interact with anybody else. So, I mean, it's very taxing.
And to be honest, with some people who are very tech savvy, who maybe don't have the social skills that they would like to have, or they're not outgoing, they're introverted, they're very smart. Having that interaction with other people was really good for them because it helped them open up.
I would fall into
And
that category. Absolutely. Yeah.
so I'm just saying that it's great, it's good to do, but I think we'll see over time that it will adjust itself to some level. It won't go completely. The pendulum won't swing completely in the home to the home because you're still going to have to go to meetings. Virtual meetings are nice, but you can't read people. Bosses can't tell by looking at your face on the screen and your body language what's going on. And I remember when I was a manager of people, you had a meeting with people. I'm looking at everybody, and I can tell the mood in a room just by looking at them. I couldn't do that over video. So it's going to be important. It'll depend. It depends on the job. Depends on the company.
Yeah.
Right.
And of course, you're seeing the trendsetters, we'll call them, the fake trendsetters in Silicon Valley, setting the mood with this. And I have a feeling I doubt this will be a permanent thing. Again, because
Yeah.
the reason you work for these trendy tech companies in Silicon Valley is the office environment. That's one of the huge things.
Right. Right.
You
I
look
think
at the
so as
Google
well.
campus, they got little bikes that you ride around and all this other crap that is like, it's
Just
the
the,
big
just
trendy thing.
the break areas are incredible.
Yeah. Beer on tap. It's like that's the whole thing. And now you're just going to sit in and in the case of California, now you're going to sit in your crappy, a 210 square foot apartment that you're spending $7,000 a month on and work from home. I mean, I don't know.
I for one would rather have the morning and afternoon Google bus ride where they pick you up and drop you off. You could sleep on the bus. That's why I didn't like being away from home, but I loved commuting because I could sleep. I'd fall asleep on the train. As soon as I got on train, 5 minutes, I'm out, gone.
Well, and from a productivity side, so um, I obviously don't have a long term working career, but I noticed that in working from home, I found myself more productive on certain things, but less productive on other things. I don't think it's a general across the board. Oh, I'm generally more productive. I found it on tasks where I needed to be kind of left alone for a little bit and be able to accomplish. I found myself far more productive. But anything that needed to be coordinated with other people because of my limited skill set still took 2 or maybe 3 times as long. So I don't think there's a general I don't think there's a one size fits all. Oh, I'm more productive. Oh, I'm less productive. I think it really depends on what exactly you're accomplishing. If you need to sit there if you need to research and figure out how to do something, I think you're probably more productive at home. There's less distraction, at least in my case. But for working on a team project, I found myself far less productive because it just took longer. I couldn't just say, "Hey, what do I need to do on this?" You got to call them. They're in the middle of something. You got to wait.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
I enjoy
In
being
the
back at the
office, you
office very
just
much so.
walk over.
What'd you say?
I say in the office, you just walk over and you can see whether they're not busy. And when they're not busy, you walk in and
Yeah.
yeah.
Now, our workforce anyway split across 2 locations anyway, Fayetteville and Wilmington. So there's already kind of a work, talking to people on the phone and whatnot a lot
Mhm.
anyway. But when everybody's at the office, it's just a little bit different. There's a little bit more focus and whatnot.
You know what's going to decide it? Productivity. Because they'll do studies and they'll find
Yep.
out. And that is one of the biggest advantages the United States has had over the rest of the world is that we have incredible productivity.
Oh
Now
yeah.
that you pay for it though, if you're super productive, then your personal life can suffer from it. But it will adjust itself based on, I think the biggest factor will be productivity. So,
No.
we'll see.
Yeah.
I'm going to rent out I have 2 desks in my office. I'm going to rent one of those desks out to somebody who wants to work remotely.
You're gonna turn your house into a
That's
flex
it. Yeah, I'm going to
workspace.
be. I'll have a little coffee bar downstairs with
dude.
a coffee machine and some fresh bagels and stuff.
Yeah, man.
I'll charge them like
From
$1,000
Burgers?
a month.
$500 a week.
Is it from Burgers?
Yeah,
Hey.
$500 a week.
Isn't that the premise of WeWork?
Yeah, it is. Well, Upwork, WeWork, all of these flex from home space. Now, I tell you what, that's I think what the commercial real estate market probably will end up turning into, because you're going to have a lot of these vacant spaces. They'll turn into these Regency, well, not Regency, but Regency, WeWork, Upwork kind of flex spaces where your company rather would rent 2 desks in one of these places, and it would be available for you to go in there and set up. That will be. We tried doing that in Wilmington with some space, and we didn't really market it at all. But the concept is it very much follows that Google, Facebook, Microsoft trendy design style, where it's open concept and you've got a coffee bar and all that stuff.
I got an idea with very low startup costs. We rent tents and put them in parking lots of empty stores. There you go. You air condition it. Amnon Uzi still have that giant air conditioner?
Yeah.
He does? Hey, there we go. We got a way to use it.
Go buy some old FEMA tents or something,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yep. Bring in a fiber cable from one of the providers, and then boom.
Oh no, you bring in the who's got them? The like during the hurricanes, the EOC sets them up, the satellite on wheels thing. It looks like a little trailer that they pull with the satellite dish and the mast on it. Yeah,
I learned to set those satellites up for the Red Cross.
Yeah, the Red Cross sends them. Yeah, I don't know what they're called, but they're super
we had a
cool.
truck that was an automatic. Well, it wasn't automatic, but you actually had a joystick that you zero in on the antenna. But the ones on the ground that we would set up, you did it manually, and you had your software program, and you find the satellite, and you basically move it in increments with a little wrenches and stuff. You'd move the antenna around. We'd put them on roofs with sandbags and all kinds of stuff. It was cool.
Yeah.
Data links, and we actually ran telephone calls. We set up a mini office using the satellite links, 2-way links. Didn't want to. You had to put a police barrier tape around it, though. You didn't want to walk through the signal because it transmitted back up, and it was microwave, and you could get fried.
Did you put your food out there?
You could.
Actually, that's what I'm going to do when the next hurricane comes down here. I'm just going to go buy a huge microwave dish and be like, cooking on the grill. To hell with that. We're going to just blast this can with RF and see what happens.
There's a funny story. My dad was a radar crew chief during World War II.
Oh, really?
And for the Army, yeah, he was in the Signal Corps, and he was on Ascension Island in the South Atlantic the entire war. But I didn't hear the story from him. I heard it from another documentary about radar. It said that these guys, if it was cold, he was never cold. It was, it was only a couple 100 miles south of the equator. But in the wintertime, they go out and stand in front of the array to warm up. Literally, basically tenderizing your internal meat there by standing in front of the microwave of the radar in the morning. Wow. I wonder what the incidence of cancer was after that.
All right. So for working from home and working conditions and all that, here is something. It's not exactly about that, but it's interesting what's going on. Workforce automation is about to cost dozens of news contractors their jobs.
Oh, darn.
The Seattle Times and The Guardian report that Microsoft is letting go of dozens of news contractors after June 30th due to a shift to AI news production on MSN. The workers were responsible for choosing, editing, and curating stories. The work included identifying trending news stories, planning content, and rewriting headlines, according to the Seattle Times. It's been semi-automated for a few months now, but it's full speed ahead. One of the terminated contractors tells The Guardian, he says, it's demoralizing to think machines can replace us, but there you go.
There
Mm.
are huge layoffs happening now across all of media. I just heard from a friend of mine this morning, an email. He said BuzzFeed is shutting down.
But AOC
Well,
said that you don't need to worry about being fired or replaced by a machine because it's going to give you a chance to retrain. Wasn't it her that said that? Who said that?
I don't know.
Wasn't it?
She couldn't figure out how to use her dishwasher, so I
Well,
don't really take her. I don't really take what she says to mean anything.
I'm at a link now that shows layoffs across the media industry. This is mostly newspapers around the country. Oh my God. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people. And this is just small operations. And then you look at who was, I think CNN had another layoff. Well, they
they
probably
hardly
laid off
have anybody
what's-
working there. So
So in the
Anybody-
case of the Microsoft one, though, let's look at what that is. That is sites like Bing and MSN, in which there is news on the front page, and I would make the argument, since they are not writing the content, that they don't need
Well-
these. They're not writing the content; they're just curating, and it. I mean, I don't know what they're paying their people to do that, but that seems like something that can be pretty easily automated. I mean, you still have a person or two that keeps track of it, but I mean, you need to pay somebody to go scour the Associated Press to find a headline? I don't think so. And these people weren't journalists. They were just copying news from other places
and
putting it
rewriting.
on sites like MSN and Bing, which is what those sites are. They're news aggregators.
Yeah, but they're writing headlines.
Well, yeah, they're rewriting headlines.
Yeah,
Yeah,
rewriting.
exactly. I mean, I can't imagine that however much they were paying somebody to rewrite headlines.
No.
So in digital media, BuzzFeed, Vice, The Hill, Vox, Quartz, Vice, Playboy, Microsoft, The Athletic, all weighing
Oh
people
no,
off.
not Playboy.
Yes. Oh yeah, laid off as editorials.
What does
Playboy has an editorial staff?
I was going to say, what is Playboy? I didn't realize they had anything.
Well,
They're going to start using Rosie.
Go Media. Yeah. Yeah. Mm.
Yeah. It's interesting. I mean, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Last Tuesday, Google was sued in a proposed class action accusing the internet search company of illegally invading the privacy of millions of users by pervasively tracking their internet use through browser set in private mode. So apparently, if you're using Chrome and you're in private, or I guess incognito is the same,
Yep.
they can still track you. And they were.
Yeah, I mean, if you're, the incognito mode is really only used, in my opinion. If you're trying to keep something actually private, you need to be using a different browser and a VPN. But the incognito mode is great if you're trying to log into a Gmail account or something like that that's not yours, and you don't want to junk up all your logins and whatnot. That's what I use incognito for, to log into sites, because we do a lot of, we log into a lot of people's emails and whatnot.
yeah,
to
but a lot of, I mean,
check
you're techie, and a lot of people out there who are not techies, they see incognito. Okay, that means that nobody's going to be able to track me.
Well, no, I think a lot of
That's-
people think what they're doing is private, and that's
Yeah,
not the
that's
case at
what I mean.
all, because
Yeah.
it's not. I mean,
Incognito has nothing to do with tracking, right? Don't mix the two, and that's what the article does. Incognito is about clearing history more than anything else, and that history includes tracking cookies. So it just means that you're opening a new session, but it's still going out from your site. So it still goes out from your home, it still goes out from your IP, and anybody tracking the IP addresses, right, can still create a profile on the IP addresses. Now, if you're in a business and you have a lot of machines there, incognito mode just jumbles out, right? It's just part of the traffic that goes out from that site. But it's not like you're invisible. It's just nobody can say which specific station it was. That's all. There's more. There's actually more to it because, especially with Chrome, there is a machine identifier that is being sent out unless you do some things about it, right? So so theoretically, it's even possible to track an incognito session.
Yeah. Now, to be fair, with an incognito, your ISP you are still the exact same
Right.
person to your ISP.
yeah.
So there's nothing going on there. Yeah. No, I agree with you, Amnon. There is maybe a false sense of privacy or security with incognito, just because if you have Chrome open, you press Control Shift and it opens up and it's, oh, you've gone incognito. It's all black and, oh, you're secret and private. But I mean, you're really not. To the public, you are the exact same person. There's no privacy there. You are still the same public IP hitting a website.
You still have to go through an encryption and not de-encryption process, and the person that does that can monitor everything they see.
Yeah. So
just don't people think, oh, VPN, I'm protected. Nope, it doesn't make you anonymous from if you log in as something to a site, you're that person.
Yep.
Despite the fact that you go across a VPN. VPNs are getting, it was funny. My daughter originally got the VPN so she could watch Netflix stuff or YouTube stuff from Europe or something related to geography. Well, they shut it down.
Probably.
At BBC, I signed up for the BBC One, which is a free streaming service, and it says I was using the VPN to show I was from the UK. It says we detected a VPN. You're not allowed.
Yeah, so they grab the public IPs of those VPNs and put
Yep.
them on their block list.
Yeah, a lot of them changed their rules and they said, nope, you can't do anything with a VPN because they realize.
Yeah, well,
what
once they
people are doing.
find out that the IP is a VPN IP,
Yeah.
then they block it out.
Yep. Yes.
It's because
So-
they don't pay the tax for.
Oh
UK.
yes, what is it called? What is their tax
License
called?
and-
The media. It's like the it's got a weird name. Like it's called like the TV tax or something
Yeah.
like that. It's got a super weird name.
Gal, you were talking about Microsoft starting to use Linux or
Starting to
incorporating Linux into Windows. So beginning this month, this is add on top of it. Beginning this month, Lenovo will certify its ThinkStation PCs and ThinkPad P series laptops for both Ubuntu, LTS, and Red Hat Enterprise Linux. Every single model, every single configuration across the entire workstation portfolio. And it doesn't end there. Going beyond the box, this also includes full web support, dedicated Linux forums, configuration guidance, and more.
That's awesome.
Was quoted by Rob Herman, General Manager, Executive Director, Workstation and Client AI Group at Lenovo.
That is great.
We're
That is
not
great news.
talking about just hardware certification either. Lenovo will offer both Red Hat Enterprise Linux and Ubuntu LTS distributions pre-installed.
Terrific.
So it's, I mean, years ago, we were always talking about, when is Linux going to be? When? And, it looks like it's slowly getting its way into the workplace
Well,
for end users.
it's not the first time to happen
No,
on the Think. So they said the Think servers,
the Think, what is it? Think Station
Think Station.
and
So
ThinkPad
that's
P series.
ThinkPad. Okay.
P
So
series.
yeah, so it's not the first time the ThinkPad, and I think ThinkStation as well, because IBM in the past, when it was all an IBM outfit, I think they had for a while. IBM started embracing Linux
Mhm.
uh, in parallel to their AIX offering, and they would ship machines with Linux pre-installed for a while, and then it went away.
Dell
But
did
now
too.
Lenovo is picking up this. This is probably 15 years after the fact, right? So a long time has passed since that attempt, and Linux has matured since then substantially. So yeah, it is interesting. It's a good. I think it's a good step forward.
Yeah.
I don't know the current status of it, but it was a number of years ago that IBM actually switched to Linux desktops for their employees.
Hmm.
They abandoned, I wouldn't say they abandoned Microsoft, but they switched over to um, a Linux option with the complete IBM desktop image for
Interesting.
users.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with doing that and trying. And I mean, a lot of countries around the world, governments switch to Linux, but then others switch to Microsoft. So,
Well, I'll tell you this. I in just my little sphere of working, whatever you want to call it, there is outside of appliances that you buy. And when I say appliances, I don't mean refrigerators and stoves. I mean firewalls, and tailored devices that you buy from a provider. Nobody uses Linux. We manage upwards of 11 or 1200 machines.
XP,
Everything is Windows.
XP.
You're talking about the user environment,
Well, I'm
but
just talking about the environment in general. I mean, from this now, obviously the firewalls run Linux because that's but those are appliances that are purchased from a vendor that they've custom made firmware for. There is no Linux in any of our environments. I'm trying to change that, but and now to be clear, we're in a our business is SM, small medium sized businesses. That's our forte. Um, so hopefully to change that, but it makes sense. I mean, unless you have somebody like Gal on your team that can actually dig down and I'm not capable, at least at this point, to actually dig down and try to resolve a Linux issue. Gal's very skilled in that way. It makes sense, but for most people, they don't have, and even IT people got no experience with it because it's just not used. Everything is Windows Server because of AD and domain controllers and AD Sync, and now with Office 365 with the Azure cloud stuff. It's all Microsoft. They've done a bang up job recently in the past probably 5 or 6 years. You'd be an idiot if you were a small and medium sized business and not embrace Office 365 and the Azure cloud. I mean, it's so cost effective. So it's cool that Microsoft is incorporating it, but I don't see it anywhere in business. I literally do not know of a single Linux computer that we manage that's not a appliance, a pre-built supported device.
Do you have the people to support it if you had a
No, we
customer?
don't.
Yeah.
And I've got my one of the benefits of taking the job I did at an MSP was the training plans that they're gonna, the training that they're gonna put me
Right.
through. Um, the it put me through that, and I'm going to try to take some sort of Linux. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do yet, but try to get some sort of Linux training that would actually be used. For example, maybe a print server. Maybe that's the beginning of it. I don't know. You want to find something that's realistic to deploy. So maybe a print server. I'm not sure.
Hmm. Whichever it is, it's a good thing, and it's a good skill set to have.
I have a question. maybe you guys know the answers to this, of the popular television OSs, TV OSs, either set-top boxes or actually built-in, Roku and whatever alternatives there are. What are Linux-based?
I'm sorry, say that one more
Do we
time.
know?
Okay,
What's that?
so first of all, you have the Fire TV, right?
That's Android, right?
That's Android, which means it's Linux based.
Well, Nick did not understand the question. Hold it.
Yeah, say that one more time.
The question?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, of all the TV OSs that are out there,
Oh, okay.
what are the which of them are Linux based?
All right, so Gal, go ahead.
So the anything Android based is basically Linux based underneath. So you have those.
Roku is Linux or Unix, I should say.
Probably.
It is because I've done some development, and the way when you SSH into the device, it spits out like it's a Unix shell.
And
Apple TV probably has got some Unix on the back. I would
well,
imagine.
Apple is Unix, right? Because they have their own. It's BSD based actually.
Oh, Apple TV is BSD based?
Well, everything Apple is BSD based.
Huh.
Their
since Power
OS
PC,
X,
right?
Yeah,
Since
all
Power
that-
PC,
yeah.
everything is.
No, they did that on the switch to Intel. Before that, it was something completely different.
Yeah.
And WebOS, that's I think also Linux based, and that's LG's systems. They're WebOS based. So I don't know what's happening with Samsung with their Tizen. That's probably completely their own because it really dates back. But other than
whatever
that,
it
I
is,
think everything else is Linux.
Whatever it is, it's very slow.
Well, and it makes sense.
Samsung.
You got to remember these TVs, right? These smart TVs, they have very poor specs. Now, you go and buy a $5,000 TV, it's going to have a great thing. But this $300 Vizio I bought, it does not have a fast processor. It's absolutely Linux based, if not Unix based. So
it's really it's just embedded technology.
Yeah, it's a
yeah.
crappy little ARM chip.
Yeah.
So it's all that. But again, that's an appliance, right? You're not actually nobody is playing with the Linux side of it. And that's the one thing where Linux is great is for somebody developing an appliance like a smart TV, like a firewall, even a smart fridge. All of that stuff is appliance based. So it's running Linux and that's great, but you're never interfacing with Linux as the user. And that's where Linux shines because it's not cost effective. You couldn't put Windows on a fridge. The licensing costs would kill these companies. I mean, they'd be spending hundreds of dollars per device to have an embedded copy of Windows. And plus the performance on it would suck.
No, you'd want to use Windows.
That's where Linux is great.
You got to use Windows CE. It's really cheap.
Well, that's what
but it's still a lot.
The Sega Dreamcast was Windows CE, I think.
Yep. I had a GPS that was actually Windows CE. You could actually boot it into CE mode. It was hysterical. You remember that, Amnon? Mio?
Yeah, the Mio.
The original Mio was CE.
A long time ago, when I was a developer, one of the companies I worked for, then we had a Windows CE based switch. The switch hardware, the embedded software on it, it was Windows CE. Yeah.
You're
talking about a network switch.
There were ATMs that were based on Windows CE.
Yeah, pretty sure.
And it made sense at the point, but now with Linux, if you're building an embedded piece of
it didn't make sense.
Okay, well, maybe it made more sense. But now if you're building any sort of embedded I mean, you talk about running Linux, all of these like smart thermostats and everything, all of that stuff is based on Linux. Every single piece of it.
Yeah.
All of it. I mean, Linux is everywhere, but the user is never interfacing with Linux. And I don't necessarily think that we want Linux to be the desktop.
No.
Today, I can tell you there is zero problem having Linux as the main desktop. There are fringe cases where that probably wouldn't match, but as a general use desktop, Linux is
It's
fantastic.
fine,
I
but I don't think I wouldn't want to use it. I mean,
I think the big issue for me has always been drivers and updates,
That
where you would
usually isn't the problem with, unless you're using very, very, very exotic hardware. Most of the driver issues with open source today almost
yeah.
completely
So my
solved.
experience
So
is a couple of years old building
yeah,
desktops and using them. So
I think it's important to look when we talk about this stuff to look at the use cases. As much as we say we hate Microsoft, right? They have developed a user-facing operating system. That's what Windows is, right? Now, obviously, there's
yeah,
Windows Server and whatnot, but Windows as a whole is a user interactable front-facing OS. That's what it's developed for. That's what it's really good at. Now, you can make your argument that's fine. Linux, on the other hand, Linux itself was not developed as that. Now, there are projects like Ubuntu and whatnot that do have that front-facing, you know, development that's where they put the resource into to the app store and to the marketplace and whatnot, um, and see what happens, you know, with that. But I don't know. I don't think there needs to be the cross. I think that you look at. I would imagine I've probably got a dozen, or everybody's probably got a dozen or so more Linux devices in your house. Your Ring doorbell, your secure. I've got this little Chinese security camera that's running Linux. All of it. It does a really good job at appliances, and I don't necessarily think it should also be a desktop
yeah. Well,
interface.
I don't think it's a question of should, but the question of, is that an option?
Is it an option? Yes,
Absolutely.
absolutely. Yeah.
It is up to par uh, to Mac. It's up to par to Windows as a desktop environment, fully functional, hiding most of the details from you, not requiring you to be technical. You can definitely run a Linux-based desktop machine without opening the terminal window even once, and getting everything resolved. More than that, I can tell you that, uh, for example, Ubuntu, right? The with the whole concept of containerization in Linux, Ubuntu has a desktop containerization solution called Snap, where when you're installing software for the desktop, right, it, there's no difference in installing it than installing it a portable solution, but it is still completely integrated into the system. That means that when you yank that piece out, right, that piece of software out, your system is still clean from anything that that system brought in. And so you get you get a much more streamlined experience with very complex software. Let's say you install a complete office system, like on an open source one, like LibreOffice,
Libre. Yeah.
right? When it's a Snap package, uh, you install it. It integrates to everything in the system. You know, the default registers as a default editor for documents and sheets, and integrates the same thing, the same way like an Office suite will integrate in Windows. But if you decide to take it out, right? If you need to troubleshoot it, you need to, you know, disable it completely from the system. It's a single click. The operation is immediate. They have made these encapsulated uh, packages, and it is far way uh, far forward going than what even Mac and um, with their App Store and Windows with their App Store. It's a completely different approach to even thinking about desktop application. Now, does it have everything? No, it does not. A lot of the, I mean, Microsoft themselves, they are not making Office for a Linux environment, right? So if you want Microsoft Office, no, you can't run it on Linux today.
Um,
Not even with Wine and stuff like that. Not really, right?
but hold
So
on a second. here's an important thing, Gal. They have done such a good job with Office 365 in the cloud that I would make the
Yes.
argument you don't even need to run if you're not a power user, you don't even need to run the apps anymore. You can
Oh,
just
no, no,
use it all in
totally agree.
office.com. So that's
To-
great for Linux users. That's fantastic.
I totally agree. And I think, right, and this is just a guess on my end. I haven't seen any rumors or anything. But now that Microsoft's own Edge browser is Chromium based, right? It means that they probably, without too much work, they can create a Chromium based Edge for any platform, including Linux,
Yeah.
right? Uh, I haven't seen. I think they have a Microsoft Edge for Android, right? So it's like they they are looking at being multi-platform, embracing the fact that they do not own all platforms, and they'll be available on all platforms. And that will probably make them, they'll say Office is tuned to the Chromium based Edge browser. And I've seen this already. I'm using Teams from my workplace, and it works best inside the Chromium based Edge. In the Chromium based Edge, I get all of the features exactly as I would run from the Teams um, client, right? And so no need to install Teams client anymore. So it's like, if they're going to push it that way, then yeah, Microsoft Windows will not be the only option they offer, right? Because their tools will be available in everything.
Do you have any
I
statistics? Do you have any statistics on Edge um, deployment as far from a corporate perspective? People requiring it now, like they used to do for Internet Explorer, because of the
no.
security.
Well, I can
I,
tell you that our IT department, right, had made the switch on all of the company machines uh, from the previous Edge to the Chromium-based Edge. They pushed it. They even advertised it. They encourage everyone to use that as their default. Firefox is blocked completely in our network, probably because they don't have uh, a way of completely controlling it. Right? Firefox can be easily disconnected from enterprise configuration, and so the only browsers that we can use are Chrome and the Microsoft based
Is there
ones.
are there any issues with Edge with the new Google cookie mapping?
Not that I know of, but
That was something that killed a lot of web pages for my customers that had to switch, mainly in Firefox. And trying to remember who else was affected by it. It just blew up a lot of websites at first.
you're
When
talking about the fact that they by default now do not allow cookies, third-party cookies.
right. Well, they rolled it back because of the whole coronavirus thing, because so many people were working from home and it was breaking web pages that people were trying to access because they didn't have their corporate resources anymore. They didn't have their corporate platforms. So, but
Interesting.
the whole way they monitor and allow cookies now that have to fit it. And I don't remember the technology behind it and what the reason was, but it was something they had just started to roll out the beginning of the year. And then when the virus hit, they basically pushed it back for a while to deployment because it created too much of a headache for people trying to work from home on bring your own gear.
Yeah.
All right, Spence,
Yes,
are you ready for
I'm ready to go here.
You
And
are.
I'm happy to say that we have another major announcement today. And that is because we have learned that a very important report came out from the UK saying that time travel warning that a man from 2030 says aliens will invade the earth in 2028. And we have to take care of it now. Supposed time travel from 2030 has broken his vow of silence to warn humanity of the impending alien invasion. But the most shocking part of the bizarre claim is that some aliens are already here among us. But we pretty
like
much
Hillary
knew
Clinton.
that. We knew that. We knew that there were lots of aliens around us. They couldn't be human. There's no way. So
Yeah.
Well, so we're announcing the CS2K Get the Hell Out of Here tour. We're in the process now of building our Starship, and we're going to leave in 2027. So we're a year ahead of the alien invasion. So if you want to sign up, get your choice cabins now. The good cabins will go first, and otherwise you'll be stuck down in the cargo bay sleeping on a cot. I don't think you'll like that too much. Amnon, you're going to get the president's suite.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, you're the founder, so you get the best
Is
accommodations.
that right at the tip? So the first one to go is, if you get into an accident, the first one to go is the president.
Yes, always.
Yeah. Okay.
They shoot you out an airlock.
All right.
Okay. So today I tried something different again. I just went out and I said, well, let me just do a search on good tech deals. And I picked 3 sites: eBay, Amazon, and Walmart. So some of the take this for what it's worth. I mean, of all the sites we talk about today, eBay is probably the most suspicious. If you're buying from eBay without having your guard up, then something's wrong. But
Mhm.
Always look at the seller's rating.
sellers' ratings,
Yeah.
how long they've been around,
Yep.
and always, always, always check to see how current that particular thing is you're buying. Make sure it's not but what could be refurbished. There's nothing wrong with that if that's what you want and want to save money on. But check the reputation, because there's some pretty
Right.
wacky stuff out there on eBay. They probably are one of the least, or do the least amount of vetting. They supposedly stand behind their product. I've never had an issue where something that I ordered couldn't be returned or getting credit for if it was broken or not what I expected. But I think the chances of you getting something you don't expect are higher on eBay than these other places. Okay, so Nick, you can tell me if this is a good processor. AMD Ryzen 9 3900X 12 core for $429. Does that
It is a
sound pretty
good
good?
one.
He stepped up.
Yeah, it is a good one.
But
The
it's a good
Ryzen 9 is is one of the processors that AMD are basically shaming Intel with. So
Oh yeah, I know it. I know the number and the brand is good. Is this a good price? That's the question.
I
So,
think so. Yeah.
yeah. So they've also got an Intel Core i9 with this is what will really sell it: Microsoft Office 365 for 1 year. That seals the deal. But but this is the other one was 424.99 for the Ryzen, 29% off. And then the Intel Core i9 is 514, 53% off. Hold on a second, guys. I'll be right back. My washing machine is jumping off the tracks here.
Yeah. The
Well,
Intel.
it's thudding away. Can you hear that?
Nope.
Oh, let it go. It stopped.
Well,
But
oh.
it sounded like somebody's kicking in a door. All right. We got a Crucial BX500, 2 terabyte solid state drive for $199. That says 7% off, but still for a 2 terabyte under $200, that's a good price. We have a Intel 660p 1 terabyte PCI Express solid state drive for $124. If you are looking for a refurbished, now again on eBay, who is the refurbisher? Refurbisher certified. Well, find out what their reputation is. But if you're looking for a inexpensive used phone, this is an Apple iPhone 7 Plus, 128 gig unlocked for $259, 70% off the regular price. It might work fine. The thing that should be suspicious on of these phones is batteries, that the batteries have really been replaced when they're refurbished. Although I would feel comfortable now replacing my own battery since I did it on a 5S successfully. We've got SanDisk micro SD cards starting at $799 for 16 gig, going up to 128 gig. These are class 10 SanDisk Ultra cards. We've got a Xiaomi Mi Box S. This is a 4K HD Android TV with Google Assistant streaming box for
Hmm.
$54.49. That seems like a pretty good price. I mean, you go to on Amazon, they're usually in the $79 range, something like that.
It's a good
But
price, but, and this is very important, if you're buying this to watch Netflix,
it doesn't run.
probably it won't play HD. It will play 480p only.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
so double check with Netflix on site. They have like a list of what
Supported.
plays HD and what not, because these are based on they don't pay the royalties for the DRM code,
Oh,
right? And so that's why I don't know. A Fire TV would probably be a better choice in this situation as an Android box, right? Because on a Fire TV you get it with all the. So double check. It might work. I haven't known Xiaomi to cover that in the past. So
I have one issue with Fire TV in that I cannot load the Spectrum app, Spectrum TV app. There it is. I have tried using uh, downloading tools and trying to use, to turn off verification and to install it. And I just have had no success. It's very difficult to do. I've read other people trying to do it and tried all different methods and just
yeah, it could
really.
be because it relies on the Google ecosystem. There is one thing that you can try to do, and is sideload the G Apps suite, which is the Google ecosystem, what they call Google Play services. That installs it there, then it might work. Still, you're
There
probably gonna
was
have
a, I did
to do
find very good instructions from several people on how to try to do this. And
something.
the closest I got was where I could actually, now my problem is I have a Fire Stick and it doesn't have a whole lot of memory on it. That's it. And that's a problem. But it does not
Oh,
support,
okay. You do it on the Fire Stick. Yeah.
yeah, it doesn't support an SD card.
Yeah.
So that screws me over because I can't load the image or in a lot of cases, it's a archive file. And just loading the archive tool to unload the file is a problem because I have to delete other apps to get it to work. So, but that that was one thing I didn't like about but other than that, it's great. I mean, for the price, I used it I bought an inexpensive HD TV just to use the uh, Fire Stick on. For most every other thing, it's great. Okay, we've got a 27-inch curved monitor for $169.99. I've never heard of the brand before, but it's pretty good price for a curved 27-inch. Acer Spin One Intel Pentium Silver N5000. This says it's a new machine, a new model, 249, 24% off, and also a lot of the Intel, especially the T series laptops. I'm sorry, Lenovo laptops out there were really hard to find because of shortages. And they're back now. This is the new Lenovo ThinkPad T480 Intel i5 749, which is supposed to be 29% off list, but it is new. All right, moving on to Amazon. Uh, yeah, I wouldn't say this is a super high tech device, but I have a version of this and I absolutely love it. It's the WorkTunes from 3M. It's hearing protection with a built-in radio. And the one I have is you can connect to an audio source using a mini plug. So if you want to listen to your iPod, iPad, your phone, whatever, as long as it's got a mini plug, you can play it without using the battery, actually, which is nice. But the one I have has AM/FM radio in it. And so you're out there doing stuff, working. This is a pretty good price, $55.99. It's a little bit off. Normally it sells in the $65 range. But this one has Bluetooth, which really sends that thing to the next level. Protect your ears. Um, we've got a Garmin Vivoactive 3 GPS smartwatch for $131. By the way, this is all at Amazon. 131, which is doesn't say how much it is. It says regular price 249 is probably the list price. We've got a new HP 14-inch laptop. Now, how did they bring the Athlon brand back? Because how can this be a new model with the AMD Athlon Silver processor? Which I thought was odd. And I went and looked it up. And
They
sure
found a
enough, on
bunch of
HP,
them in a warehouse.
Must have. Not that they were bad, but $399 for this 14-inch laptop. We also have a Acer Aspire 5 Slim laptop with an AMD Ryzen 3 for $349. Okay, so if you're looking for a gaming machine, Nick can comment on whether the ROG Zephyrus M Thin is actually a good platform. But this is a 50.6-inch with a Intel Core i7.
Spence, move your mic in front of you.
Sorry,
No, just
my head
move
to
it.
read this
Move
a
it in
little better.
front of you as you move.
I need a lavalier. Windows 10 for $1,999. You gonna buy me one, Amnon?
No.
Oh. 24-inch curved monitor for $119. Scepter monitor. Philips 32-inch super curve for $199. I was obsessed with curved monitors today. Sorry.
Okay, so what's the difference between curve and super curve?
The curve means that you can less stress on your neck.
Yeah, and the super curve?
Super curve is super less stress on your neck. That's at least how they listed it in the medical journals. And the last item is an item I actually have. So if you're having a lot of USB devices, but you don't need them to all be connected at the same time, like drives that you only want to connect to a backup or a download, you don't want them running, or you don't want them connected to the system. Sometimes you just see too many open things. This is a 4-port USB 3.0 hub with individual LEDs and switches. So you can actually turn these ports on independently from each other. So handy for under certain circumstances. I knew a guy that did the deployment of OS from a master laptop to laptops that were sitting in storage that they had to be brought up to speed. And he was using a single USB hub to distribute. Somehow he was set it up to distribute. I don't know how he was doing it, but this would have been really handy for him to not have all that stuff appear at the same time. Okay, finally at Walmart, got some interesting stuff. Roku streaming stick for $39. That's a 4K version. We've got a ONN 55-inch class 4K Roku smart TV for $248. 55-inch, $248.
55-inch.
Pickup only. Wow, that's incredible. Even if it just lasts a couple years for that price, it's amazing. You know, I'm not the kind of person that goes and does color tuning necessarily, and I would notice if the screen when it was black had too much, was too bright. I mean, that's a really nice sign of a good TV, is a true black and not a lot of artifacts. But even if that was marginal for that price, jam. Pick up. They probably have one in Apex. Should I go pick it up, Amnon?
Mm-hmm.
Do I have to pay for it too if I pick it up?
Yes.
Oh. Apple
of
TV
course, you can
4K.
always use a brick at night.
Yes, that's right. Just wait for the brick sale.
Yeah.
Coming to your neighborhood, brick sale. They haven't unloaded the pallet of bricks in downtown Apex yet.
Yeah.
So we're waiting. Apple TV 4K 32 gig for $169. Free pickup today. Roku Ultra streaming media player 4K HD HDR for $91.83. And we have a Jetstream smart home starter kit. This is a knockoff of the Philips stuff, Philips Hue, but it's got 2 smart switches and 4 color tuned bulbs for $35.
Wi-Fi or something else, basically?
It's Wi-Fi because there's no hub needed. So just direct Wi-Fi. Here's a TV antenna for you, Amnon. Powered TV antenna. It
Yeah,
promises.
that's
It
the kind
says
of
you
thing
if
that
you
I
get
got.
this, you will definitely see it listed on the side. NBC. You
Well,
will
that's all
definitely
of
get
them.
those
All
channels,
of them have
guaranteed.
that. All of them have that.
I know.
But that's the kind of antenna I got. Yeah.
Yeah, flexible. You stick it to the window. It's
Yep.
powered. They're $19.
$20. Yeah,
Yeah,
not bad.
worth trying. This is Father's Day coming. You're looking for a gift. Here's a good gift. A shirt that says with a big drill and it says "Dad can fix it." Problem is, you don't want everybody knowing that. So, oh well. And then the Dusty Brush. I saw this. I said, "This is great." And I unfortunately I cut off what the price was. I think it was like $19. It's a hose attachment, like a nozzle that sits on the end, and it's got these little uh, kind of semi-rigid glass, like almost like plexiglass tubes that lets you. It's like a little broom, but it also sucks up through the center of it. So as you agitate the the dust, it picks it up. Seems like it'd be work good for very delicate things.
Hmm.
So interesting tool. I don't know how it works. It's worth a try, right? I think it was inexpensive. All right, so we have the Linksys dual band AC 2400 uh, mesh Wi-Fi router. This is a base station and a satellite for 129. TP-Link, a whole house deco Wi-Fi system for 169. That's one base station, two satellites. And we got the TP-Link
That's
deco. Sorry, go
that's a
ahead.
good price.
It is a very good price.
Yeah, they used to go to around 250, 300.
Yes. That's why I was looking today. I was amazed. And then finally, the TP-Link M5 AC 1300 MIMO dual band whole house router for 74.39. TP-Link is good stuff. And finally, this is for you, Amnon. It's the Father's Day toilet timer. So it's just a little like hourglass, but the picture's great. The graphic is great. So for $14.99, I think that's what I'm going to give to uh, my kids to give to me, right? Toilet timer novelty. Your dad, your time is up. We have this outside. We know it's your time is up. So come on out of the bathroom. Used to be when I grew up in a house with one bathroom. This would have been handy. So, and that's it for CS2K specials for June 7th, 2020. Don't
All
forget
right.
to book your seat on the CS2K Starship. Going fast. We have a lot of interest from Washington politicians who want to leave before the aliens get here.
All right, Spence. Thank you.
Alrighty.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Um, Gal, any more comments on any of those the Rokus or the whatever?
So something that I just discovered this week, uh, and you sent me something. So there's a company called Select TV.
Right.
That's what you sent me.
Yeah.
And they're basically posing themselves as, let's call it,
Cord cutter. Yeah.
guides to cord cutting.
Right.
Right. That's where I would put them. They provide an application, right?
Yeah.
It's not a device that you hook
No,
up
it's not a
to.
device.
Yeah. So it seems like they have this approach on giving you a centralized location to get your content. They do not replace any content, basically. They do not provide any content other than what's already available for free via streaming and stuff, like a bunch of Kodi add-ons if you would have done it yourself.
Right.
Something like that. They send you an antenna,
Mm-hmm.
and they're basically a helpline to help you disconnect
Right.
from cable. So they're specifically posing themselves as, you don't need cable, you can use our help, and we'll guide you, and we'll help you, and we'll give you tools. The other thing that I've seen is
And
TiVo.
the way that they are giving you or the way that you are watching, they're not hosting anything. They're not
No,
streaming anything. All they
no.
give you are, it's like a file of bookmarks, so to speak, kind of.
Uh, yes, in a way. I mean,
Yeah,
it seems like they have a site that gives you, everything centralized and
right.
everything's nice, and you can open that. They
Yeah,
probably have some apps for mobile as well.
yeah.
Uh, I haven't checked actually if they have applications for uh, like the smart TV boxes, like Fire TV and etc. I'm guessing they have something like that. But yeah, they're like, if you don't know where to start, send us $20 and
And that's
uh,
20 bucks a year.
no,
Yes, it's 19.95 a year.
well, yeah, for the site, you're right, yeah, you're right,
Yeah,
yeah, that's $20 a year or less if you pay them more.
yeah.
What you get is a help desk that you can call, and you get their applications
And
that
you
help
get an
you.
antenna.
Yeah,
The antenna
and
is
they
20
send you an
bucks.
antenna. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that's like the gimmick.
yeah.
Uh, it looks like they're targeting the older generation,
Hmm.
those who are more that are less technical savvy. I'm not saying they're scammy in any way. It's just, um, and I mean, it might be not a bad solution, but I don't think it's the cheapest solution or the best solution, because there's still some technical hurdles uh, that will need to be
Right, but you have the support.
right. There's somebody that provides
Yeah,
support, and we don't know the quality of the support,
yeah.
which is very important. But
It's
yeah,
20 bucks. Come on.
yeah, yeah. No, I mean, if somebody is looking for a solution, was thinking about doing that, and it doesn't know a techie that can help them, this definitely looks like a viable option. What I don't know is whether the support, tries to push you things, tries, right? We don't know. We have zero experience with how they're doing it. So that was one. The other thing that I saw that that uh, uh, that associates with this really well is TiVo. So TiVo, right? When they started, there wasn't such a thing as a DVR, a PVR, a personal video recorder, and now every cable box has that. So in order for them to stay viable, I guess they came up with a product that they call the TiVo Stream. And as far as I understand, also their boxes with their hard drives and etc. They already incorporate this OS into it. It it looks very similar to what Roku does and what Amazon TV does, Fire TV does.
Hmm.
Uh, but it seems like they took it a step forward in terms of what they did best in the past, and that's how to find your content, right? And how to make sure that you can get to it. So let's say you have HBO Direct and HBO Go and Netflix and Amazon Prime, right? But you don't want to go and open these applications separately and search for content, right? You want to be focused on the content you want.
Hmm.
So once you it curates everything to a single view and shows you what is available as if you were in any of these applications on their own, but combined. And then when you choose the content that you want to watch, it says it's available from here, available from here, available from here. And then you go in. So they're like doing what they did with electronic programming guides and DVR at the beginning of their uh,
Cycle. When
yeah,
they
when they
came up.
started the
Yeah.
offer of their first offering, and giving this cohesive experience through their streaming OS. And that is, I think, that is a great, a great approach. I think they also include IPTV. So anything that's available for streaming via a web browser or something like that, they also incorporate that into their OS, and that looks like a very exciting solution because it's like what we've learned to know from Roku and Fire TV, but one step forward. Now I'm interested in hosting my own content for some of the stuff, right? And I use Plex. And one of the interesting things that I've learned is that it will also search your Plex content. So if you're looking for a movie and you have it on your Plex because I don't know, you ripped your DVD and you have it available on your home server, right? Then it'll show up in the search result as part of Plex. It will not be as seamless with the other apps. So if you choose to start playing it, it'll open the Plex app and you'll need to do a search within it again. But at least it shows the content as being available, right?
Mm-hmm.
You already have it, and that is an interesting thing. So I am definitely sometime in the future I'm gonna at least get my hands on one of these to test them because it is a very interesting concept, and I think it's a very good first step for cord cutters that do not want to install certain services, want to get their hands dirty with tech. They want to start you know just start watching. I think that one is a very good solution. No monthly fee. Uh, you buy the stick like a Roku or whatever, right? There's no um, subscription. So if somebody is looking into an adventure into cord cutting, I think that would be a good first step. But
All
again, I
right.
haven't tested it myself. I just saw some demos, saw some user experience from the web. Uh, Looks very interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. All right. Let's see. Oh, here's hardware. Frustration. It's the middle of 2020, and the USB-C standards are confusing even for the most technical person. USB-C is billed as a solution for all our future cable needs, unifying power and data recovery with data delivery with display and audio connectivity, ushering in an age of a one-size-fits-all cable. Despite the USB-C connector supplied as default in modern smartphones, the standard has unfortunately failed to live up to its earlier promises. Even the seemingly most basic function of USB-C, powering devices, continues to be a mess of compatibility issues, conflicting proprietary standards, and general lack of consumer information to guide purchasing decisions. The data speeds available over USB-C have also become increasingly convoluted. The problem is that the features supported by different USB-C devices aren't clear. Yet the defining principle of the USB-C standard makes consumers think everything should just work. Um, this is so nice when you have the what is it, the mini USB or the micro USB for the phones. In the early days, you had to have a charger for each phone that you may have sent. Bless you. Each phone that you may have switched to. Oh, now I have to get another charger. These days, most everything can be charged and powered up with the same charger that you bought 3-4 years ago. Phone manufacturers finally succumbed, or I don't know if they succumbed, they decided, hey, you know what? Let's standardize. I guess it was just too much to have to develop and design a different
Well,
charger for somebody to go and buy it on eBay for $1.50. What?
yeah, for modern phones,
Yeah.
right, there's Lightning on iOS and USB-C on Android. Now if you're buying a cheaper Android phone, it's still going to have the micro USB, but there's pretty much those are the only three. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. Back back
it's
in
just those.
the early, like 10, 15 years ago, forget it.
Oh yeah,
You
I
would go.
remember Samsung had a weird like old style plug-in that was kind of like Apple's 48 pin. It was
It was weird. They were
yeah,
all
and it was
kind of
everybody was
different
trying to
ones.
figure
Yeah.
out because at the time everybody was trying to figure out how to get the most throughput out the adapter. But now with USB-C, it's a no contest. Now you're buying like if you buy $100 Android phones, which there are plenty of, I don't expect them to have USB-C, but any flagship has got USB-C.
Well, I think
Android on the Android side.
the problem here, what the article is talking about, is that even within the USB-C, there are so many different uh standards and
It's true, but for the most part, it's not a problem.
okay, I never used the USB-C, so I don't know.
Oh, USB-C is great. It's just like the Lightning cable. I mean, it's a
That's what
reversible.
that's what you got on the Switch, right?
Yep, it's just a reversible. It's a little bit bigger than a Lightning connector, but it's a reversible plug. And the cool thing about USB-C is desktop computers have USB-C built in, so you can use USB-C to USB-C
Right.
on if you buy a newer. Well, actually, laptops too, because uh, it's they're great for using dongles. So you can get a USB-C um, docking station kind of thing where you can get a VGA, an HDMI, an Ethernet, a couple of regular USB 2s. Yeah, USB-C is fantastic.
Now, don't confuse USB-C with USB 3,
No.
Correct.
right? Because that's they have like a bunch of standards about what USB 3, 3.1, and 3.2 can do,
Yep.
and data rates, voltage, bunch of other stuff. So the fact that you have a USB-C doesn't mean that, and your charger probably supports that came with the phone or whatever, uh, charges in a certain way doesn't mean it'll charge something else. I think that's part of the article that you're reading. That the
Yeah,
trouble with it.
Yeah.
I know. I
Uh,
mean,
yeah.
even
And
go ahead.
Andrew was saying that his brother got a crappy Samsung phone and it had USB-C. So it seems like the cheaper ones are starting to come with that as
Oh
well.
yeah,
But again,
Samsung has embraced it.
yeah,
Samsung, yeah, everything Samsung is going to be USB-C now. We see that, but
No, Nick, Andrew is saying that the crappy phone has it.
that's what I'm saying.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I thought you said has it.
yeah.
Yeah.
But Amnon, so for one of the things that for you, for example, I would say it is less important because you've invested in a set of magnetic tip cables, right?
Yeah.
So you don't care because the connector, right, works is seamlessly. It doesn't matter what the connector is. You
Right.
put in adapter and you use anything. So it really depends on what's the case, right? But yeah, USB-C is a very, very welcome step forward. I
I
think
mean,
more than Lightning was, because if you recall, Lightning, when Apple pushed Lightning on their systems, everybody was in an upheaval about it because they had this chunky connector before, and then there's this new proprietary connector that they invented. And so because they didn't went with the USB-C step, it was like a real issue at the time. Not only that, they did go with USB-C for the laptops,
Yep.
right? It was like a move that nobody understands other than a money grab. It was a very frustrating choice on their end. So USB-C is still with all of its trouble and its politics around it and all of that, it's um, it's a very welcome change, I can tell you.
Yeah. I'm just looking forward to a time when you walk into a phone store and you don't have a wall full of different chargers, power supplies.
It's not that bad anymore. There really is only
it's gotten
everything
better.
is micro USB now, or excuse me, mini USB. It's
No,
mini
micro.
USB. Excuse me, micro
Yeah.
micro USB, USB-C, or Lightning. There's nothing else.
Yeah.
But you run into the issue, like Gal was talking about, with when you buy devices that are docks and have docking stations, and they start changing things around, right? So you have a mini USB, micro USB stereo dock, and now you go buy a phone and it's got USB-C.
Mhm.
Sometimes those adapters work, but sometimes they don't. So it
Yeah, well, that's
sucks.
this is just something that you have to put up with. It's just like when I mean, in the early days, you could buy a power supply on eBay and it wouldn't work right. I mean, there are still some micro USB chargers that when you put it on the phone, it says that the phone is going to charge very slow.
Yeah.
They
Well, and that's
use
the other thing to note about those magnetic chargers is they are not for data. They are strictly
right,
for
no,
power.
they're powered.
They
It's
do make
power
a
only.
version of one now that's supposed to work for data,
Yes,
but it's
supposed
definitely
to.
proprietary.
Well,
It's
magnetic.
not. Yeah,
Yeah, I use them. Volta.
yeah,
Fantastic.
yeah.
Hmm.
Yep.
The
That's good.
thing is, I mean, when I had I bought a 2.4 amp USB charger from Amazon, and when I plugged the phone into it, it said that it was going to be too slow to charge. Use the one that came with the phone. So I'm looking at the one that came with the phone, and it's only 1 amp.
I'm thinking that it's too much power for the. It's actually throttling back
Oh,
because of.
Well, it really depends on uh, it depends on the phone. But
Yeah.
the phones I currently use are the OnePlus, and
mhm.
there's also OnePlus is like a part of a Chinese conglomerate, and that Chinese conglomerate has another brand, and they have a specialized smart charging, fast charging solution. It's either called Dash for OnePlus or Book, Booc. And what they did was they you need a proprietary cable, right? And so one of the things when I was looking for a magnetic tip was looking for something that would support that. The thing with the cable is that it has an additional wire. It has an additional tip internally that is there just for the charging control. And so um, looking around, I did find one magnetic tip producer. They're an Australian firm, and they support that. And I was skeptic because with Amnon's experience, right, with data and stuff, I was skeptic. And they were selling these cables with data support. And luckily, yeah, trying them, they're great. I replaced the cables everywhere I can, and it's definitely a step forward. It's definitely. I wish this would be the standard and not USB-C, and not because the convenience of these magnetic tip is it's great.
Oh yeah.
But right now, it's part of a proprietary solution, right? It doesn't matter which one you buy; they're all proprietary solutions, and it doesn't seem like it is of any interest to any of the big company to make an issue of it, especially when they're trying to give everyone wireless charging. And I can say this is much better than wireless charging because wireless charging is wasteful, right? You need I don't know, you need to drive 10 amps, 10 watts, right, in order to get a 2 watt
Into the phone.
rate of charging. So it's and these it's just a wire just with a lot more convenient and
But
probably
but a wire isn't hip. It has to be
uh,
hip.
come on. The
Come on,
fact that I can
hipness.
use
Oh,
one
hip,
hand, put it in
hipness.
place, and
Is
it's
the
hooked up.
wire? But is the wire woke? See, that's the real
That's it.
question. If the
You get a
wire's
lot
not woke,
more,
I'm not in. Is the wire protesting? Because if it's not, I'm not really interested in it. I mean, I appreciate your feedback, but
Well, I have a black wire,
oh,
and I have a blue one,
ah.
and I have a red one. So either politics will work.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Let the Israeli mess up the politics.
Oh
No comment.
no, but it's for those of you that don't understand about the tips, the thing that breaks with laptops and with phones, any device that has a plug-in cable is, every night sooner or later you're going to drop it. And if the cord is short and it's going to hang on it, it's going to do some damage to the plug, either the internal plug or the plug that you plug into the phone. And go ahead, Nick.
Well, the other thing too is fraying, which is a problem specifically with the Apple cables.
Yeah,
but when
that's
you
true.
buy those cheap $1 cables on
Right.
Amazon, on eBay, like Amnon said, they work fine, but they, the rubber that they're made out of, or the plastic, is not very good for heat. And then when they heat up over time, they begin to either crack or fray, and then you end up, then you have an animal that comes over and rubs against it and they shocks the pet or whatever, or you burn your house down. So that's also something to keep in mind if you're buying. I'm not saying the cheap chargers are going to burn your house down, but I see a lot of people with very frayed cables. That's a bad idea. It's a very bad idea.
Yeah, and a lot of Apples are like that I've seen.
Yeah, they are, and I don't know why.
I don't know, because they're expensive.
Yeah, the Apple. I've only had one Apple charger that's frayed. I've had this charger here. This is an Apple charger.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had it since I've had my iPhone, which is older now, a couple of years old, and it's in great shape.
You need JB
But I think because a
Weld.
lot of people plug it in by their bed and sit with it like this, and over time, this causes the cable to break and fray. So that's
So you haven't JB welded the cable yet?
No, I have not had to JB weld the cable.
I've done it.
I'm sure you have.
Cracked some corners. Like, I actually made a little mold sleeve
out of JB
put
weld?
the JB weld around it and wrap this little sleeve around it. Now I have an indestructible cable.
I would like to put that to the have you held up an angle grinder to the cable?
I've driven over it with the car several times, and it's just fine.
It's like a
the phone got crushed, but the cable survived.
There you go. See, that's a good. You could sell some of those on Amazon.
Yeah, little fix-it
indestructible cables.
A little plastic a little sleeve that's slightly bigger than the cable but you could slide over it, and then fill it with JB Weld, slide it on there, and boom. I did that to my heat gun because the little strain relief on the cable broke. I took a piece of PVC pipe, slid it onto the cable, JB welded all around it. Now I have an indestructible cable.
Just make sure that you don't bring your JB Weld the cable. Try to bring that through TSA. I can't imagine that they.
Oh no, they would be fine with it.
You think they'd be fine with JB Weld going through TSA?
No. Sir, what is that?
Oh, it's just JB Weld, sir.
You're just going to have to leave it here.
Yeah, and you can't drive
it to mail at home.
But anyway, so to go back to the magnetic ones, so all you do is you're using the same charger, so to speak. I mean, no, you can't use the same charger if the wire is wired into the charger. You have to replace the wire. So if your charger has a USB connector on it, you unplug your wire and you plug in the magnetic tip wire, and you get those little tiny adapters that plug into the phone, and then you just literally you put it next to it and it jumps.
Let's go back to the old days, and everything is hardwired. So you get your phone, it comes with 4 bare wires and 4 little wire nuts.
Yep.
So every time you want to charge it, you tie it, and there's 4 bare wires on the charger. So you go and just wire nut it together.
You could.
Why not?
Just use electrical tape. Wire nuts are for professionals.
That's it.
Harbor Freight electrical tape too. Not even the good stuff.
Here is something that came up. I was reading and I said, "What?" Broadband and TV providers can keep charging rental fees for equipment that customers own themselves until December 2020, thanks to a Federal Communications Commission ruling that delays implementation of a new law. A law approved by Congress and designed by President Trump in December 2019 prohibits providers from charging device rental fees when customers use their own equipment. And it was
MAGA, baby.
originally a what?
I said MAGA, baby.
And it was originally scheduled to take effect on June 20th. As we've written, this law will help Frontier customers who have been forced to pay $10 monthly fees for equipment they don't use and in some cases have never even received. But the new law gave the FCC discretion to extend the deadline by 6 months if the commission finds that good cause exists for such an additional extension.
Think about
And they did
millions
that.
of customers times $10 a month for 6 months.
Dang. I mean,
That's a lot of money.
I know.
That's a lot of money. Somebody's
It's-
getting a kickback there.
It's
Sorry.
ridiculous. Hey, Spence, that microphone arm that you're using there,
Yes,
where'd you get it?
from you. You
Where'd
gave
you
it to
get
me.
where'd you get the microphone?
Why?
Where? I'm just wondering.
I bought it online.
Good. So can I charge you rental for it now?
Sure.
It's
Amazon is charging me.
it's just ridiculous to think that anybody could charge rental on something that you don't need.
Well,
and
If,
you don't
if it was a
have.
cable modem, right, and they flash new microcode to your cable modem to get it to work properly in their network, can't
Mhm.
they say that they're charging you a software fee?
But if you don't have the modem, I don't have a Spectrum modem.
No, but if I own the modem and they flash software to my
I
modem,
see what you mean. I doubt they would do that.
Now the
I'm sure
problem
that's-
is that they've got it written in their contract that they charge every user $10 a month, and that's where the problem is that it's a standard fee across everybody, and that's ridiculous because the
That
motor
by itself-
you would not believe the amount of people that have their own modems because they're sick of paying these stupid modem fees.
Yes. Although Spectrum is a little better in that they don't have a fee. If you turn the device in, if you have a bundle that says you have to have with Time Warner, I had to keep their cable modem /TA /Wi-Fi switch, had to keep it to get the bundle. But Spectrum says, no, you can turn it in if you don't want it. We won't charge you for it.
Yeah.
You still get
If I'm
still
not
get the bundle price.
mistaken, the only time you have to have their own is if you also have a phone.
Correct. Yeah, which makes sense. You have to use
Yeah.
the TA.
Yeah.
I have that. I had that bundle even though I gave the equipment back. But now Spectrum has it broken up, so you don't have to get the phone service to get the same bundle.
I've had a recent change of thought. Spectrum really is a pretty good company. I've been dealing with a lot of other companies as of late: CenturyLink, Suddenlink, Frontier. Spectrum is by far the best out of all of those providers by a long shot. Not even close. So as much as I in the past have bitched about Spectrum, I've kind of had a come to God moment with them after dealing with these other
Wait a
providers
second,
like
but
CenturyLink.
do you mind clarify? Are you talking about dealing with these business side?
Just in general. I mean, like, you would not believe how hard it is to get somebody from CenturyLink on the phone.
Oh, forget about CenturyLink.
No, well,
But
don't
I
forget
mean,
about
the
CenturyLink.
people
A
that
lot
you-
of people.
When you're saying that your experience, you worked with a lot of them, you probably worked with the business side of these because of your
I
customers.
understand, but if their business side is that bad, I can only imagine their residential
Yeah,
side
yeah.
blows.
No, I don't know that. Yeah.
So I just recently working with CenturyLink CenturyLink and Suddenlink are the two. Their support is atrocious. It
Mhm.
took me 5 days of calling.
They're
It,
not.
it took me 5 days of calling CenturyLink for them to finally agree that one of our customers who pays them hundreds of dollars a month for phone service
Mhm.
has an active account with a bill in hand, with an account number.
Yeah.
Days, literally days.
Was
Yeah.
just it was a no, not a zero. That's
No, it was the fact that they were like, oh, well, that was an old level 3 customer, and now we own level 3 and it's over here. I'm like, frankly, I don't really give a shit where it came from. They pay you $450 a month for phone service. So figure it out. It's not my problem to figure out what department I need to talk to. I'm calling you. These guys are paying you thousands of dollars a year. So, I mean, I've got to every time I've had to deal with Spectrum, you call them, they'll get somebody out there at least talk to you. So I'm becoming a Spectrum shill now.
That's fine.
When do they send you the check every month, Nick?
I mean, I don't know. I'm sending them a check every month for my cable service, so it's kind of it's anti-shilling. But I just have Wigs. I forgot about AT&T. Yeah, they suck too. All of them. AT&T, CenturyLink, Suddenlink, all of them that I've dealt with recently, they all suck. And I'm not saying Spectrum is great, but in comparison, they are far, far better. Their phone service is a lot better. Their on-site technicians are way quicker to respond to issues.
Nice.
I can't give them an issue. I can't give
I've
them.
also noticed that their apps, like I have the Spectrum app, that I can go in, and Time Warner sort of had this capability, but you can go in and check on the status of all your devices and reset them. And so they've done a good job of setting you up to cover 80% of what you might run into on your own without having to talk to the technician. So you can go and send a signal to have your cable modem reset from the app. So it's actually pretty good.
Why can't you just walk over and unplug the power? That's what I do.
Well, typically that's what I would do.
well, when they send the reset, it's sent from their control,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
So it resets the line that comes to your house. It's
Over
actually
the
what
phone too.
yeah, it's exactly what you do when you phone them and they perform the reset,
Yeah.
right? Because it performs the reset and performs some tests. So yes, you can unplug and plug it your own, but you're not resetting the other end, right?
Yeah, it's true.
The software
That's
side
right.
that controls it.
Good point.
So, yeah. Yeah.
So you're reinitializing the line instead of
Exactly.
just doing a cut it off on one end and have it restart on its own. Yeah,
And the
Yeah.
best thing is when you call them after that, because that didn't help, they already see that is done, right? You're supposed to save time. I don't know if it does save time.
It does. I've
Yeah.
had very good success with that recently.
Yeah, I've been able to deal with most things without even having to call, or just chatting seems to do it.
I've never done the chat. What do you do? What do you go online? You do it from an
Yeah,
app?
you
Or do
go
you
and
do it
you
online?
you say you go to your equipment, you say I need help with something, and a little thing will pop up in the app to say, would you like to chat with somebody? Say yes,
Interesting.
and then you identify yourself. Usually you can, I forget what it is you have to provide, a phone number or something identifies your account, and then you basically say what the problem is, and the checklist is getting better. It used to be recycle your equipment, and you go through this list. You say, I've already done that.
Mhm.
So what I used to do was the guy would say, all right, I want you to unplug your cable modem for 30 seconds and plug it back in again. I say, done.
Yeah.
Because I'd already done it. So I'm not going to go back and do it again. So you just have to go through this. I think probably have on chat, they probably have like 10 conversations going at the same time, so that they're just answering, just scanning across the screen and answering each one as they go. So it's never immediate. It doesn't come back instantaneously.
Well,
Plus, they don't have to reveal where the person is who's supporting you on chat.
What are you trying to say?
So the guy whose name is something I can't pronounce is Eddie on chat.
all right. It's that time of day.
But so soon?
Don't play the outro.
We
I'm
can
not.
drink beer already? Is that early? Oh,
You haven't been drinking beer?
not yet.
Sucks to be you. I'm
All
drinking
right.
beer out of my handy dandy
That's it.
Nissan cup.
Is that an Uzi special?
It is.
Yeah.
Not a sponsor.
Any last
Famous words?
words from anybody?
Keep it buzzing.
All right. So thanks, Nick. Thanks, Gal, Spence. And good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Kitty, and Donna, Dina. Thanks, everybody, for tuning to Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing, back up your hard drive, and update your virus scanner. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. And tonight at 7, Nick is hosting Against the Norm. 7 p.m. at atnshow.com. We'll see you next